Hello, my name is Hayley and I will be demonstrating both the anterior drawer test and the posterior drawer test. First, I will be starting with the anterior drawer test. ACL sprains are the primary pathology that this test is indicative of. It has a sensitivity of 0.6 and a specificity of 0.85. The anterior drawer test is better at detecting laxity in older, pre-existing ACL sprains rather than acute ones. The patient will be lying supine, like so, with their hip flexed to 45 degrees and their knee flexed to 90 degrees. I, the examiner, will be sitting on the examination table with the patient in front of the injured knee. I will grasp the tibia below the joint line of the knee with my thumbs placed along the joint line on either side of the patellar tendon, like this. It's also important to palpate the hamstring tendons before beginning the test. The results are more accurate when the hamstring muscle group is relaxed. So the examiner action is to draw the tibia anteriorly like this. A positive test is indicated by increased anterior tibial laxity in comparison to the uninjured limb or lack of an endpoint or end feel. This test can be modified so that the patient is sitting or that the examiner is kneeling with the patient's legs stabilized between the examiner's knees. The Ligament test is also considered another modification of this test. So the posterior drawer test tests for PCL sprains or posterolateral corner injuries. However, it is primarily used to detect PCL tears. These two injuries are commonly associated with each other but can happen independently of each other as well. It has a sensitivity of 0.76 and a specificity of 0.99, so it's considered a fairly reliable test. So the positioning of the patient and examiner are essentially the same as the anterior drawer test. The patient will be supine with the hip flexed to 45 degrees and the knee flexed to 90 degrees, like this, while the examiner is sitting on the examination table in front of the injured knee. So again, I'll be grasping the tibia just below the joint line with my fingers running along the joint line on either side of the patellar tendon. And the only difference is that the examiner will push the proximal tibia posteriorly like this. A positive test is indicated by increased posterior tibial laxity in comparison to the uninjured limb or lack of an endpoint or end feel. This test can be modified by decreasing knee flexion to 30 degrees in order to identify injury to the posterolateral corner. You can also internally or externally rotate the tibia while carrying out the test. This detects isolated PCL tears because this is indicative of decreased tibial translation with internal rotation. That was the anterior and posterior drawer test. Thank you for your attention.